Hi everybody, welcome back. It is really good to see you again today. The title for our family worship today is Put in a Tomb. And I want to begin by telling you about our garden. A year or two after we got married, Steph and I decided to do some work to the back of our garden. This is a picture of our garden before we did anything to it. And the issue was it always got really soggy and wet when it rained, and it wouldn't dry up for a long time. Sometimes there were just these massive big puddles sitting on our grass that just wouldn't go away for a few days. So we got a friend to help us. And here's what we did. We dug up the top layer of soil, and then we got some new soil mixed with some sand, and we recovered the empty space so that it would help to absorb all the water when it would rain. And that meant that there would be less wet big puddles on our grass and we could use it more. The good news is that it worked, but I cannot begin to describe how hard we had to work to get this to look like this. Let me tell you what we had to do. Joel, the guy who helped us out in the garden, well, he had to use a digger to dig up some of the soil, and then I would have to use a dumper to take it out to the skip in the driveway. Here's the digger that Joel got to use, and here's the dumper that I got to use out into the skip. I did about 50 trips back and forth between the garden and the skip. And then when that was all done and it was all gone, well, we had to get the new mixture of soil and sand delivered. But the issue was when they delivered it, they could only leave it at the top of our driveway. So I had to shovel all of it into a wheelbarrow and take it to where it had to go. That was another 50 runs or so back and forth with this really heavy wheelbarrow. My poor arms at the end of all of it, they were really stiff and sore for the next few days. In our passage today, we find a man called Joseph, and he decided to take Jesus' body from the cross so that he could put it in a tomb. And that can't have been an easy job for him either. We read about Joseph in Luke 23, verses 50 to 56. A man from the Jewish town of Arimathea was there too. His name was Joseph. He was a good religious man. He wanted the kingdom of God to come. Joseph was a member of the Jewish council, but he had not agreed when the other leaders decided to kill Jesus. Joseph went to Pilate to ask for the body of Jesus. So Joseph took the body down from the cross and wrapped it in cloth. Then he put Jesus' body in a tomb that was cut in a wall of rock. This tomb had never been used before. This was late on preparation day. When the sun went down, the Sabbath day would begin. The women who had come from Galilee with Jesus followed Joseph. They saw the tomb and they saw inside where the body of Jesus was laid. Then the women left to prepare perfumes and spices. On the Sabbath day they rested as the law of Moses commanded. At this point in the Easter story, well, Jesus has died on the cross. The army officer looking on was certain that Jesus wasn't a criminal, but was someone very special. But he was dead. We can be certain that he was dead because those who put him in the tomb, well, they were very careful. This story is all that we know about Joseph of Arimathea, but we get some important information about him. The Bible tells us that he was a good religious man who wanted the kingdom of God to come. He was a member of the Jewish council that condemned Jesus to death, but he was the only one who disagreed with their decision. By going to Pilate, well, he was being brave and he was showing his support for Jesus. He took the body from the cross and he wrapped it in cloth, which he wouldn't have done if there were any signs that Jesus was still alive. He put the body in a tomb which the women who followed Jesus had seen with their own eyes, so there was no mistake about where Jesus' body lay. Then we're told that the women went to prepare perfumes and spices. This was to finish getting Jesus' body ready to be alone in the tomb. So the women, well, they knew he was dead as well. It's clear that Jesus really did die. But why is that important? Well, if Jesus really was dead, then it means that he really did come back to life, and that changes everything.